and we have some exciting things to talk about tonight. With us is our friend Brad Smith, and I know he's excited too. Look at that smile.
Can't wait.
Amazing.
And the excitement we're talking about is obviously Warhammer Plus. I think it
For
comes
the
out.
Emperor!
Yeah. I think it comes out tomorrow. You can't pre-order anything. They don't have a website. I don't know where to get it, even if I wanted.
I'm interested. So I think they're going to have the app on Roku and some of the major players. Like my current TV is a Vizio TV that doesn't do that.
Well, do you
So
think? Do you
It
think
clearly
the,
will not get the app for it.
Do you
My
think the
question is,
functionality of the app on a TV will be will be as shitty as the functionality of Apple TV
Could
or like
be.
the Apple streaming service? Because that shit sucks.
Well, because I wonder, will the app have like a cast function in it?
Yeah. There's no way of knowing, and there's no way for me to know because I'm not getting it.
Yeah, that's like, well, you could probably just use some sort of like casting, like if you're watching it on your phone or something.
Yeah.
I would think your phone would just probably be able to cast to your TV.
Usually the apps themselves have that because I suspect it works better. But I mean, I have a Roku I could plug into if it is indeed on there.
I honestly don't expect anything about this to go that well or to work that well.
It'll take some time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth tomorrow.
There sure will. There sure will.
Great time.
Yeah, but I guess we were hoping to talk a little bit about the one-day showing of the first episode of, is it called Hammer and Bolter?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's called Hammer and Bolter. So
we'll do that at some point.
Yeah, we'll do that at some point. The thing that I find pretty weird is, like, why just have that for a single day?
Because it's fucking out tomorrow.
I mean, that's true. But like, it's fucking out tomorrow, but you have to fucking pay for it. Like,
because it's Games Workshop.
They should be
Adam.
doing
They're not
everything
good
in
at
their
these
power
things.
to like allow.
This is Games Workshop that
doesn't
doesn't spend money on marketing other than just sending shit out to people hoping they do the marketing for them.
That's
yeah, I feel like it's obviously some sort of social media person told them, like, do it for just a day. It'll build hype. More hype than if it's there forever. More hype if it's just a week. You gotta do one day. People get excited.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not like they could like show multiple episodes over like
because they don't
one
have
every
week
because they don't have that.
I mean, so that means like if you had found the time to watch that one episode for free, you've already watched close to a third of the content that will be available tomorrow.
That's probably not true, Adam. There may be lore masters.
Well, it says here that episodes 1 through 3 of Hammer and Bolter, episode 1 of Angels of Death, which we already saw like the first 10 minutes of that. So what, 10 more minutes?
I didn't see the first 10 minutes.
Oh man, you really missed out. You know,
because it didn't interest me at all.
The script. I can read off the script for it if you would like.
It sucked.
For the Emperor.
They say that a lot.
It wasn't good. It was. You were bored within the first 30 seconds, and then I don't think I watched all of it, and I was bored. And
I'll put it this way, guys. I watched it again today.
You did your homework.
And then
wait, you could watch it again? I found the Korean one that was put up on YouTube with Korean subtitles.
That's good.
But
yeah, so there's one episode of Angels of Death, access to Warhammer Vault, which honestly, it probably isn't gonna actually work. Like, you won't be able to view it, or if you can, it'll work like so much shit that. And then
I'm sure it will
access to
be.
Warhammer 40,000, the app. That's fine, I guess, if you were using it. 2 episodes of Battle Report. That might be fun. Like, but okay, actually, and 2 episodes of the Masterclass thing, that might be okay. Now, one thing, if you get this app, do you also get to watch their stuff on Twitch?
I doubt it.
Why not?
What do you mean you also get to watch their
Do
stuff
you?
on
Can
Twitch?
you watch the stuff on Twitch
You can
after
already
it's-
do that, Adam.
But don't you have
Just yeah, no, Adam. They want it's a marketing stream, like a revenue stream. They're not gonna.
because
They need
on
that
Twitch,
money.
if you're not watching it when it's
If you're not
happening on that
subscribed,
day, you can't
watch
watch
the
it
feeds.
afterwards. You have to be subscribed.
Yeah, I guess I just always, if I cared, would use my Prime subscription.
Which I never did.
Yeah, so to me it seems like that would have been content.
But
they could have let you see.
sometimes I subscribe to your channel.
Amazing.
Okay,
I'm
yeah, so,
resubscribing to our channel.
yeah, right now. So I feel that essentially. So yeah, if you watch the Hammer and Bolter episode on this past Saturday, you've watched a good portion of the available content. that will be
Particularly when,
available
like,
tomorrow.
I won't watch the battle reports. I'll probably I could see watching one or something just to see how they did it, but not watch it. The masterclass is more likely that I'd watch a little of it, but probably not.
Friends, can I vent about something unrelated to all of this?
You sure
yeah.
can.
My fucking washer just stopped working.
Oh,
I
no.
started it up, it filled with water, it has stopped working. So it's
my
fucking filled with soapy water and not doing anything.
Your agitator's broken.
Like, fuck
Damn.
my life.
Didn't it get broken not that
The
long
dryer,
ago?
the
It was
dryer.
the dryer.
The dryer
Okay.
stopped working. Now the
Who makes these? They probably put
I
in
don't know.
cheap garbage washers
I
and
don't know. I mean,
dryers.
I use them a lot, but like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, they should be meant to be used a lot. You need to do.
So one
Yes.
thing I can say is if they get, I assume yours is like a upright one.
Yes.
Yeah, not like or a top loader instead of a side loader.
Yeah, it's a top loader.
It could it possibly be unbalanced? Sometimes when they get unbalanced, they'll like do that. Like your clothes get, I don't know.
Like, it was just like fucking 2 towels. Like, it's not that much stuff. I don't even
Well,
know.
I mean,
what
sometimes if there's very little in it, that
Yeah.
they do have trouble.
But even if I bounce it again, how would you tell it to start work? Like, none of the buttons work.
Can you
Doesn't do
unplug it and plug it in or something?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
it
would.
seems
have
a
to,
little
like,
dangerous, but
I would have to slide on back there.
Well,
Try
could
that.
you just do the breaker? You probably have a breaker box, right?
Well, did it trip the
Mm.
breaker?
I'm just
Maybe
doing
it
as a
did.
way to cut the.
it could have.
It could
Oh.
have tripped the breaker. I don't know.
I see. what
Wow.
you mean.
I'm gonna go and look at that. I've never looked at the breaker.
You know what, everyone? This is more exciting than what we were going to talk about.
I mean, we're still
Greg
talking about it.
fix his washing machine.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, man.
That
Yeah, so
sucks.
exciting.
Sucks. Anyway, old Bale Eye.
Let's leave that until we're actually.
You know what? Like, I
recording
would
stuff.
like this when we're talking about this. I would like to have like some form of picture up while we're talking about it, but that probably doesn't even exist, does it?
There's like the thing, like one day this will be available or something.
Oh, I
There's
think I
like
found
a
it.
So,
picture.
guys, honestly, I don't even. How do you tell if it tripped the breaker? Do you just flip
One
the
would be
switch?
the other
one
way.
would be the a
Oh.
different direction. But if
Yeah.
you want to just turn off the power to it and turn it on without unplugging it, you could just.
Do the main one, I guess.
Or if you know, or
But
if they're
that would turn
able.
your computer off. Don't do that.
Yeah, it would be better.
He's gone. Oh, he's
It
back.
wasn't flipped, but
Yeah.
I turned it off and turned it on again.
Yeah. And then I would just do like maybe like a spin cycle to drain the water out
If it actually,
if it'll work.
yeah, which
Yeah.
it might not.
It probably won't. It's broken. The agitator's broken. Happened with ours, our old one, when we bought the house.
Okay.
How old
Yeah.
was it? Could you tell?
I don't know. It was a pretty cheap bad one though. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's the joy of life, right?
yeah.
Home ownership.
You know, it's
Well-
something that is actually cool that
What?
we're not going to talk about specifically, so we could talk about it now.
Hmm.
The Pyre Blaster for the Black
Oh,
Black Templars.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to be completely honest. It's not cool at all. It's actually horrible. Yeah, they just keep knocking it out of the park with bad looking Black Templar shit. I mean,
Yeah, this has
admittedly-
to be a pretty sad day if that's your like chapter.
Nah, but I feel most of the people will like it somehow.
I mean, what? It's not like stupend. Like
It's not.
It's
the
okay.
body isn't bad, right? Like it's just a space marine.
Yeah, so that part
It's a
is
Primera
okay.
Space Marine. That looks okay. The stupid chain shit is probably better than the stupid chain shit on the old plastic Black Templar. It
But
still
like
looks
his wrist
stupid.
is clearly broken. His arm is so awkward looking.
Yeah, you couldn't.
He's holding the flamethrower up along the top in front of his like
The
I don't
heat
know.
shield. His hand is touching the heat shield. At least he's not touching it with the palm of his hand.
Yeah,
Well, you'll
so-
just throw that out and use him for other. I
yeah.
don't know. Give him a chainsword or something.
So the spin cycle
Figure it out.
thing works, but none of the other options work.
It's because there's water in there. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
that.
bullshitting
I
you.
mean, I don't know how they work. That could be true. Yeah, I mean, that could be true. You're smart.
Brad's an expert on this sort of thing, obviously.
I mean, what's going to happen is it'll drain the water. You're going to do it again. It'll fill up again.
And
You'll
then-
get super pissed.
Yeah.
And
Then
If-
it won't. Then the spin cycle won't even work.
if you're like me, which you're probably not, you'll just say, "Oh, well, darn," and go to bed and call your landlord tomorrow and tell him you need a new washer. And then
I
you're
need
gonna-
a new washer and make it actually a good one this time.
And they'll say, "Oh no, we'll come out and fix it." And then like they'll come out and somebody will tinker with it, and it'll break in about 3 months, and then you'll
Yeah.
have to call again. And
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
Perhaps worse than the model because you are right. In general, it's just a
It's
generic
fine.
Space Marine, which is fine, and you could do some. Probably the worst thing, honestly, is that his weapon is called the Pyre Blaster.
That's pretty fucking bad.
Like GW is well known for having horrible names on things and just stringing two vaguely related words together. And like also, he clearly has like the forward grip or something on the bottom, but he then also has that ridiculous handle along the top. Like, God, they're just such bad designs.
It's gonna get hot up there.
That's why there's
That's
this
the way
heat
they like
shield,
it.
though.
Yeah,
Fire
the way
it
they
up.
like it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
It's
love
bad looking.
that chain. Though.
yeah, the chain looks stupid.
Does it though? He's chained to that. It's his life. He loves
guess.
pyre blasting things.
I think that's it. He does.
I love Pyre Blast and stuff.
It's rough.
Man,
It's
what
very
was the
rough.
Space Wolf weapons called?
Hey,
Weren't they
The
something like?
furnace tumbler, something
Was
dumb.
it was it like was it
No.
Hellfrost or something?
that sounds
Yeah,
right.
probably.
It's
I didn't think
probably
much could top that, but here we are.
Sin of Damnation.
Sin of Damnation. What a great name for a ship.
Yeah.
The Sin of Damnation, that I feel is up there with some of their best efforts.
Yeah, Games Workshop firing on all cylinders there.
Yeah, I hope whoever came up with that name got a raise.
They obviously didn't.
Yeah, they probably got...
Nobody gets raises at Games Workshop.
Yeah, they probably were promoted to a different thing and then got less money for it.
Yeah.
That could very well be.
So what does everyone think? Do you think we just want to get straight into recording the podcast and talking about
Yep.
old
Yeah.
Bale Eye? Like, we have a lot
Old-
to say.
Yeah.
Old Bale Eye.
Okay, well,
If we're fine, I'm gonna say, or I can start recording stuff and say my intro thing.
I am ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dragged into Turbolasers, a Between the Bolter and Me podcast. I'm your host, Eric Wire, and I'm here with my two brothers, Adam Wire,
Hey, everybody.
Greg Wire,
Hey, everyone.
and our good friend, Brad Smith.
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, so in today's episode, we wanted to use it to talk a little bit about Warhammer Plus, since it's kind of the eve of its release, and more particularly the one episode of Hammer and Bolter that Games Workshop put up on the Warhammer community page for 24 hours to watch and sort of give people a sample of, you know, what they can expect from this streaming service. So we thought we would get our resident orc expert, Brad, here to give his thoughts on it, along kind of with some of our opinions, as well as sort of postulate on whether Warhammer Plus is something we're interested in and why or why not that might be, and just some speculation before it's ultimately released and we can see them trickle out content.
Oh, yeah, so everybody, that's the big question. I think all of us, we all watched it. We all were able to watch the episode, right? Well, then that's the big question. Did that episode convince you to pull out your wallet tomorrow to subscribe to Warhammer Plus? Brad?
No, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
I feel
understand that. Eric?
That is base. I would say that's my sentiment. No, it didn't really change it at all.
Yeah.
But since I'm a content creator, I felt I needed to pull out my wallet so I could talk about this stuff to all of my small amount of
and
listeners.
Greg? What about you, Greg?
I think I go in the same vein as Brad. That I was thinking or planning on buying it already, and the episode was disappointing and were largely disappointing, though maybe not terrible. And it wasn't enough to convince me to support it, even though I was already going to.
Okay, yeah, so I think I'm of a similar opinion. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot, and while there were some positive aspects of the thing, it certainly didn't convince me that I should subscribe. And I don't think I'm going to. I don't see much of a point. Particularly if all my friends are subscribing.
You're gonna feel left out.
You're gonna live vicariously through the rest of us.
Yeah, so I don't know. I
mean, gonna wish you did when we all are talking about the 2 episodes we could watch.
Uh,
showing this one episode, and on top of that is, do we think that one episode is pretty telling or pretty consistent with what, like, the quality or the direction of most of the rest of the stuff? Or is that just, I guess we have no way of knowing. So I guess maybe we should just get into...
It was one of the worst things. I don't think they would
talking about what our actual thoughts on the episode were, and then we can, speculate a bit more on the future of all. It's like, what, a 20-minute animated thing, and
It was about Commissar Yarrick and his nemesis Gazkakal Thraka.
Yeah. And I feel, interestingly, it was told from the orc perspective, which I feel had some good as well as negative elements
It was probably better that way.
I think it probably was. I mean, I guess, first of all, the first thing that struck me from it when just watching it, like, unsurprisingly, but that the animation was not very good and largely non-existent throughout most of the episode, in that it was primarily stills with some animation periodically that didn't really have much in terms of frames. Like, it wasn't technically impressive, I didn't feel.
I would agree with that. I think, like, it really kind of reminded me of, like, those old kind of like Flash kind of like videos from, I guess, is it like 15 years, 20 years?
Yes,
something.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like technically very well done.
Or like that even it didn't seem like lots of money was put in towards it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the company that spent how much money for their website, and like, look what they got, right? Like, but
yeah,
it didn't. You're not watching this if you're like a fan of animation, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you're like someone who likes different styles of animation and how it can convey things maybe that are difficult in live action, or interested in the techniques and such, this is not your thing. I mean, I will admit, like, just the stills and the artwork itself, I thought was relatively good, and it was pretty fun, like an interesting visual style. I was kind of pleased to see the youths, or like the younger orc boys, kind of looked like the older Paul Bonner style orcs with the almost flat faces. Like, that I thought was sort of fun, in the sense that they were playing around with some of the through the years, what orcs look like and such.
I'll give credit to Games Workshop actually letting the animation studio depict things that you can't buy. I think that's like a really big step for game.
That is true. that is very true.
Well, like, I mean, that's, yeah, they love to always just make things that you can buy, and
like, even when things like, clearly you can buy the shock attack gun and some of the buggies and things, and they showed up in this, but they weren't just like a carbon copy exactly of it, and that wasn't a given. So you're right, that does deserve some credit, that they allowed what at least some of the people involved conceivably could have been fans. And the fact they were allowed to kind of work with it and do their own thing is refreshing.
I mean, it shouldn't be, but this
Oh,
is
yeah,
Games Workshop, though.
It's true. And I think one thing it is interesting, and we touched on it, like why was this episode chosen to be the representative? Was it because it was what some deemed as the best? Was it like more broadly palatable to people because there was some humor and such in it? Because in general, like humor isn't necessarily a thing you associate with 40K, so it doesn't come off as being particularly grim dark. But I feel it worked a bit in its favor here that because it was sort of humorous, it could almost detract a little bit from the fact that the animation wasn't good and that some of the storytelling was maybe sort of dumb and jarring, and that sort of worked because they were telling a legend about Thomas Arjeric, old Bale Eye, so that
Well, yeah, so I
helped.
guess in general, I guess for people listening to this, if you weren't able to watch it, it's largely an older, elderly orc is telling kind of like the legend of Commissar Yarrick and his battle with the orcs. And so the older orc is kind of telling the different stories of the different battles that Yarrick was a part of and his sort of rivalry with Thraka. And there was a
How
lot
he
of
got his claw. How he
yeah.
got his orc battle claw. Was it always a snake bite warlord
I
that he
don't
killed?
know.
I don't
If you were a
remember that
true lore
detail.
master, you'd know, Greg.
Yeah, I'm not a true lore master, but that was a new detail to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
so like since it was told through the orc perspective, some of the kind of what can often come off as pretty ham-fisted, like for the emperor kind of bullshit, was a little more. You could accept it a little more because,
Because they even made like
well,
the
yeah, the orcs even made fun of the whole
made light
notion
of
that
them
they
always saying
say
for
that
the
a
emperor,
lot.
which
So
was funny because like that otherwise would just scream horrible writing, but it fits in sort of this mythologizing of a character, which humorously, because like the first line I think in Angels of Death that we're gonna see the first episode or whatever is the Terminator yelling for the Emperor, but he is very serious when he does that. Um, so I don't know. That sort of levity and lightness with the source material, I think, was sort of charming, and I mean, can kind of with all that together, ultimately, it was better than I anticipated. There's and it has a major caveat in that I expected it to be pretty bad, and
also
in a lot of senses, it was disappointing, particularly the animation part, because part of what is exciting about all of this is to take these static models and pictures and stuff and see it come to life. How does this thing move? How does this work? And when it's so choppy and few frames of animation, you don't really see that. It's more like, oh, we're just gonna pop up a picture of this is a killer can, this is a war truck
and
or
we'll
something, and
slide
it's
it
just
across
like
the screen.
it, this is yeah, this isn't this is
Mhm.
kind of sad. But
Also,
having said that, I feel the voice acting was pretty good.
yeah, I think all of that, like the sounds, the music and stuff, all of that worked pretty well, and it helped sort of elevate what was there. Um, I guess what is interesting, I think overall I sort of like the kind of the humor to it, all of that. But I know I've certainly heard people sort of complaining on the internet about how for instance, the Warhammer community site has all these like kind of comical images and stuff, and how that's really at odds with
The
the
setting,
settings and stuff, and they don't like that. And so it'll be interesting to see how some of the stuff is received, and if like people are upset with that or like don't care. Um
I mean,
Yes,
honestly, I feel that in this context, it was nice because it did seem like it pooled various elements of orc lore throughout what 30, almost 30 years or something of 40K stuff. So I think that was nice. It had Gazkul's old banner, paper banner, and all the little old orc glyphs that don't see that much use anymore. That was fun.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess the episode itself was like 20, 25 minutes. Um, and they didn't really. So they didn't have. Do I even remember? Was there like an opening or something to it? Or not
That
really,
was like
right?
a really quick little thing. Hammer and Bolter came up in like kind of like a pixelated neon green or something.
No.
It wasn't much, I don't think.
Okay.
But I guess it was revealed today that when it opens, there are going to be 3 episodes available, and then every Wednesday more content will be added. Quite what that means, it's not sure. And at this point, even what 3 episode that means, is Old Bale Eye going to be one of those? Presumably, but
Almost certainly.
maybe not. But I assume it is. How do we feel about that? Like, because obviously when you hear something that's called Warhammer Plus and it's a streaming thing, you think Disney Plus, you think Netflix, you think of the other major streaming services.
Yeah.
Well, this
And
certainly isn't
then
that.
you hear that there will be 3 20-minute episodes, 1 episode of the animated, like the CGI animated Angels of Death thing, and some like battle reports and stuff. That doesn't scream value from like the traditional streaming aspect. Like how do you all feel about it? Is this more or less than you anticipated?
I'll take a stab at it first, I guess. I mean, they don't really have a lot of like back content, so like wasn't expecting them to drop everything all at once. I think it's
Yeah.
smart to do a weekly for your episodes, and I think it's smart to have something new every week of the year. So it didn't really
Do you think they will actually do it that way, like every
no,
week of the
I
year?
mean I think they'll try to stretch out as much as they can get.
Yeah.
But I do really like these models where it's going from week to week. So like the content creators have something to talk about every week is like a pretty good idea, instead of the Netflix model where like you drop everything and people have consumed it in 3 months or 3 weeks and don't even care anymore, right?
Yeah, they've already forgotten it. Yeah, because that way, this just allows, as you suggested, content creators to continue to talk about it and generate buzz. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And like you said, it's not like, let's say, like Disney, when they added it, they can like, remember watching that one season of Gargoyles? Like, you can watch that. Do you like those X-Men animated episodes? Why don't you watch a couple? Like, they didn't have that.
Yeah, they
So
do have that
everyone-
movie, right? Which I never saw. That's
Oh,
apparently
they didn't even say
terrible.
if Ultramarine was.
Yeah, is that going to be available to watch? It should be, right?
Everyone, join us next week to hear our opinions of the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. So I don't know. It maybe is a little less than I anticipated, but like as you said, like they need to stretch it out, and I don't think it's not the sort of thing that I would have necessarily even wanted to binge. Like they're gonna be episodic sort of things. It's not like there's gonna be a super compelling story there that you want to see.
To me, the stuff that excites me the most about it isn't even necessarily the animations. So
What does
Like-
excite you most?
Yeah, so maybe we should like what else is gonna be with Warhammer Plus,
Well-
and what would you be excited about?
I'm excited for the potential. Like they talked about the last year of like White Dwarf. Obviously, I don't really care about last year's issues, but if they would open up farther,
Yeah, so you're
back,
referring to how maybe they're calling it the Vault, in
yeah,
which at least at start supposedly it's going to be like you have access to a year's worth of digital White Dwarf issues.
right,
And so I guess almost all of Warhammer Plus seems like it's has a lot of potential for everything, and we just don't know what it will become, because it is true if they did spend a lot of time like kind of scanning and digitizing their backlog of a lot of their older content, like that would be exciting. It would be nostalgic to look back through some of those things, to like see what was the first White Dwarf issue you saw or one you particularly liked, like the to go over the first Tale of Four Gamers, like stuff like that. Like that would be cool, but is it? Will they do that? It's hard to say. I mean, and presumably because they've made a digital version of the magazine for a little while now, certainly more than a year. So, like, in that sense, it shouldn't be hard to be able to eventually add that content, which I guess at least that. But I think the biggest thing here that is troubling is like how you'll actually be able to access those White Dwarf magazines. How do you think that'll play out? Like, I have a sneaking suspicion it will be like tethered to the Warhammer Plus app. And
Yeah,
if that is the
probably.
case, I could see that not being great, and that it
Yeah.
won't be very well optimized for different platforms, whether it's like a tablet, a phone. I don't even know if you can look at it on like an internet browser or anything.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, ultimately at this point, we almost know nothing about all of that. Like, they don't even have a website up for Warhammer
But if you
Plus.
can access those magazines easily, like I think that there is value there.
And I am getting way too excited because the one thing I saw that made me realize my thoughts were too good to be true
Mhm.
is in like they're gonna do some of the old, I guess, 8th edition
Oh yeah,
source book,
yeah.
but they said it would only be the lore sections.
Mm.
So it's not even like the whole book. And that was kind of like, man, if they're afraid to like publish old rules, like this is not going to be that exciting. I should not be excited, but I'm still excited because
I mean, all of it, I feel the whole platform, since they'll be able to learn and adapt it based on what people like. So I would like to think it could improve, but I imagine it'll be pretty touch and go for a while, because one of the things that you get is access to their premium apps, like the 40K app, which you in the past I think could subscribe to for like $5 a month, which is $1 less expensive than Warhammer Plus. So in that sense, if you were probably one of the few people who did subscribe to that, this would be a good deal. But from all I've heard, that app is awful and very
I tried
buggy.
using it briefly because I bought the actual rule book, and I sort of tried playing around with thinking like I could get the rule book on my phone, but I gave up pretty quick. So
And
I wasn't
I've
even
heard,
able to do
like, because
that.
that's also how if you buy a physical version of a 40K codex, there's
Mhm.
a code in there to download a digital copy, but just through that app. And I've heard that those books don't contain all the rules and don't contain a lot of the lore and stuff, I think. So, like, they're not like just like an EPUB or a PDF or something of the entire book. which to me, that's Warhammer Vault, like the White Dwarf magazines and some of that digital stuff. That's what I would particularly like if I could just get copies of stuff so I could view it at my leisure in a method that I'm comfortable with. But I don't think we'll get that. But if they really want it to be successful, I feel they will have to do something to make it actually work.
Okay, so I just looked on my phone at the Warhammer 40,000, the app. So that's their big premium app. And they have over 6,000 reviews, and it has 1.8 stars out of 5.
It's a little better than I anticipated.
And for the most part, people are saying stuff like, oh, it has gotten better over since it was introduced, but like a lot of the functionalities that you would want just they don't exist, or it's not like updated properly.
And the fact that it's taken months and months to still not be very functional doesn't make me feel good about how like even just the Warhammer Plus app will work. But
look, guys, software development's hard.
oh yeah, well, that's I mean, I don't doubt that, but I feel they probably just don't hire people who have a lot of experience.
It apparently crashes a lot. Yeah.
Why have an app? Why not just let you be able to download digital books?
DRM. Like I assume
Yeah,
they
I'm
just
sure
want
it's
to
tied to
control
that.
it in some way. But so yeah, I guess with that said, like those apps, the Age of Sigmar app and the 40K app, unless they somehow change, literally, I couldn't care less about those. But your mileage, could be there. I guess actually a thing that seems like just kind of waving your hands around and try to create value there. In terms of other sort of like video sort of streaming features that are supposedly going to be on there, they're going to have a lot of, I'm going to say, hobby related content that sounds a lot like content that is already available through various channels on YouTube. Like they're going to have another, like a masterclass painting thing and some battle report things, and as well as like a lore related thing. Are these things that anyone here is interested in? And like why or why not?
Honestly, I feel some of those things could be interesting, but the only way of really getting a sense if I would be interested in them is actually seeing one or two of them, kind of seeing the format of it, and so potentially, but I don't feel any of that's a guarantee because chances are there are other things on like YouTube that are free that you could watch that would give you the same information. Oh, one thing that is interesting, the notion of like those apps working really poorly. It is possible that most of the people like developing and most of the effort for apps and stuff like that has all been funneled into Warhammer Plus.
It could be.
And kind of everything else has been like, it just has to be functional, whatever. And who knows?
I assume that they have contacted like a third party and just backed up a dump truck with money and say, build us a streaming service.
I assume that's would be probably better, particularly if they continue to funnel money towards that company to continue to work at it, and not like assume that their own in-house team can fix bugs from now on type thing. But
yeah,
I think it's interesting because GW already like has a YouTube channel that they do at least do some painting videos and stuff like that in Back in the
Yeah.
day, Duncan Rhodes was kind of a big thing before he started his own painting studio. But like that is, as Adam, you suggested, has grown a lot over the years, and there are tons of different painting channels and such that all have kind of different niches, whether it's just kind of talking about techniques or general foundational elements of painting, or like very much showing very technically how to do one particular thing for an hour and all that. And it'll be interesting to see what Games Workshop does here. If it sounds as though they're going to try to make them a little bit more technical and the stuff that's on their YouTube channel to maybe separate that there.
Yeah,
But
because
I feel there could be some value there, although it's certainly going to be a thing that's very centered on using all GW products all the time, which I don't know. I don't find
Mhm.
quite as useful as maybe other sources that
yeah,
understand that
what I
it's
was gonna
not
say, yeah,
all
currently
GW.
on their YouTube channel, nearly all their painting videos are geared towards like new painters, or yeah, this is a quick way to like paint this model or something. So I think those or could be very beneficial to like newer players, but people who've been in the hobby for a while and are like interested in like learning new techniques or trying to push their painting abilities and stuff, you don't necessarily get as much out of them. So hopefully this kind of expands all of that.
I feel the battle reports to me are the thing I'm maybe most interested to see how they approach it, because that's another thing that there are lots of different forms of that on YouTube as well. Some better and worse than others. Some that's just like a top down camera, which is not engaging at all.
Yeah.
Others, they have multiple cameras from different views. And like, I feel it'd be interesting to see a company that has the money to put into it and like how well and engaging they can make it. Because in general, I've tried to watch some battle reports in the past for various games and different channels, and I lose interest pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And will there be really high production values here? Will they try to kind of partially explain rules and talk about their strategies? Like that could be interesting. Or
Mhm.
will they try to do a narrative thing and try to build a story there? Like all of those things could be interesting, provided like they try to push it and do something new with it. But in general, yeah, as I said, I lose interest pretty fast in battle reports.
I enjoyed watching some of their Blood Bowl stuff, and I would be mildly excited if it was just how they did that. Like, I don't think it was like a whole lot of like, you don't really need a whole lot of camera angles and stuff for Blood Bowl.
No, you don't.
And stuff like that. So I guess in that sense, it like kind of worked. But I do feel like it was. I thought they were enjoyable for me to watch. Well, you know, while I'm doing other stuff. But
Yeah, because that is certainly something like a lot of that stuff in a lot of, at least to me, hobby channels in YouTube and things. Like a lot of it is kind of nice to have it on in the background listening while you're doing a hobby related thing, and learning while you're kind of working at stuff can be nice. I guess this is probably even less information was provided with this, but there's this lore master thing that presumably is going to focus on various aspects of the lore. On the community page, they had like a quiz you could take of like 10 questions or something. And I took it today and got like 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 12 or whatever. Like, I not do well.
No lore masters here.
No.
Yeah, no.
But a lot of just seeing that, it made like, wow, this could be really pedantic and uninteresting. But my guess is it's going to be more like spotlighting on particular characters characters or armies to give you background, which that could be more interesting. But just like sort of quiz like stuff like on, I don't know, isn't particularly niche to me. But the quiz did kind of bring up Gorka Morka and some things like that. And I guess if they do stuff on not just like, and today we tell you why space wolves are cool space marines, like who gives a fuck? But if they talk about more interesting things, like it could be interesting. But we'll have to see kind of how that fits within their plan, and even if they have a plan yet, or if that's kind of in limbo until they determine what people like.
Yeah, I think they even put out a job posting for somebody to do those videos too. I think.
Okay.
I think I saw that.
Oh shit, everybody, here's the quiz. I just brought up the quiz. Let's read the first question. Captain Tycho of the Blood Angels was grievously wounded during the Second War for Armageddon by the sorcerous powers of an orc weird boy. Which psychic power laid him low and caused the damage to his face that his iconic mask would later hide?
So I'm gonna tell you this.
Mind, warp, bolt, claw of mork, smite.
I already took this quiz. I saw the answer and I don't even remember and I don't care.
I just started taking it. Claw of Mork is what I guessed. It is wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's
it can't.
Old lore. That was
can't,
before they.
It can't be Claw of Mork.
Well,
It's
it can't
either
be Smite either.
It's either Warp, Bolt, or Smite.
Warp, Bolt.
Yeah, that's. I would have guessed.
It's like the most generic.
It's Destroy Mind.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
wrong.
Destroy Mind.
Yeah, see, we
number
couldn't get it.
2. I got number 2 right.
The Eater of Tomes, one of Archeon's enslaved gaunt summoners, was caught off guard by Star Master or whatever is what. See, I don't even care. What had preoccupied his thoughts and distracted him from assault?
The most mundane, boring shit.
He summoned a conclave of wizards. Several experimental subjects had escaped.
He was worried about
down.
Stormcast.
Yeah, I got it right. He was busy hunting down an army of Stormcast.
Yeah, see, it has to be that, like the most generic.
God. Okay. Although considered a dangerous radical later in life, Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn was a devout adherent to the tenets of which inquisitorial faction?
It's like the
yeah.
It starts with an A. It's like the status quo dudes.
Yeah. They believe that the God Emperor had his grand plan and is currently progressing properly, and they aim to maintain the status quo. Yeah, so that's the only one that I knew so far.
Maybe we should stop and let the listeners enjoy this for themselves.
Yeah, what if they look at this book.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not. One of the questions is about the Caradron overlords, like
you said one was about Gorka Morka.
It's the last one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like the Caradron overlords, like no one cares about them.
All right, we're going.
You can't say that, Eric. There's I'm sure.
They're one of the few armies that I painted
cares.
A model for.
No one cares.
Number 10. I said on the world of Angelus, so that's the Gorka Morka thing. I then stopped reading the question, looked at the answers quickly, and saw Necron Tomb, selected it, got it right.
Yeah.
It's the only one I got right.
Yeah. I
didn't even read the shit.
Well, a lot of these questions quickly get into the too long didn't read category.
Well, yeah, that's what it was.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's fun to kind of laugh about, but a lot of the stuff, I mean, I guess it probably couldn't really be, but it's not really like interesting things. It's more just like pedantic shit, like the name of which psychic power did they use at this time. Like, that's not really interesting. or like getting the name of one of the character on Overlord's floating cities when they all are kind of sound the same. Like that's not really interesting information.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, I don't think this is.
reflective of
No, I
So
don't.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping they have a new quiz like that every week for you to take. Wouldn't that be
I'll
cool?
take it.
That'd be
cool.
something.
Someday maybe I too will be a lore master.
Yeah, they're trying to. If they had that every week, they're trying to create the lore masters. Everyone.
I
could be
was
a lore
like a
master.
serf or whatever they said.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
but no, a serf wouldn't know any of that stuff, right?
yeah, no.
Well, they assumed Eric was guessing.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it is fair. But that, yeah, well. So I mean, I guess one of the other things that we haven't talked about, but I feel is probably, maybe even sadly, the reason why a lot of people are probably just going to throw money at this regardless of what's available. And that's the inclusion of like a model if you've spent like at least enough for a year. And which is, I guess, $60. And I don't know when they'll send you this model because I feel a lot of people are just going to fork up $60 immediately and be done with it.
You have to like wait a year, I think.
Even if you pay it all
Up front.
immediately.
I think it.
You have to
You-
wait
you
a
might
year
get
so
it-
they can have
Make
time
them.
to produce them.
Yeah, even a yearly subscription, I think might get it a few months earlier than people who pay month to month. But like, it's not like you don't get it
That's interesting.
anytime soon.
But like, I feel this on Games Workshop's part was a good move because if you're in this hobby, like people like models, and most I would go to say most of the people who like the hobby and are excited about this in any sense aren't as critical as we are about those models, and saw that orc and particularly that Vindicare assassin and thought like, this is the best day of my life. Like, this is so cool.
I mean, I'll tell you, I think that assassin makes great terrain.
Yeah. So I think it was a really smart move on their part to like get buy-in, because like a lot of people are like, well, fuck it, I don't care. I already spent like $50 on like a shitty Space Marine character anyway. Like, what do I care? Like, so that is concretely giving a lot of people value and something that they know they will eventually get. So they're like, yeah, whatever, I'll jump in right away. And so that was really smart. In some sense, though, it is maybe a little disappointing in that, like, they kind of knew they could just milk this out as much as they could and not provide.
Is it really that they're not like? Is it that they're not making a full-fledged like service on purpose? Like they're like, it's almost like you're saying they're cheaping out because they're like, oh, we can just give a mini and like people will buy this cheap service, where they have to like build it up first before it could stand on its own, I feel. And it's a little unfair to assume that they could just do more and have more available. I think they have to build their catalog. They have to figure out the streaming service.
I feel to a point, but if like they were actually wanted to like really invest in this, like they could have gotten good animation.
Would any other streaming service start with a movie and 3 episodes?
Yeah, like they could have.
I mean, admittedly, they have other content.
They could have put Astartes there, which they bought out, like, because people have already seen it. Like, it's certainly true that they need to build it up. I guess maybe what I'm speaking to is more perhaps the slight disappointment that this doesn't seem to be an effort of Games Workshop expanding this to a wider audience of people.
No,
it seems
certainly
very insular, like this is strictly for the hobbyists and people who are already interested here. We know we can throw a model at them, put like 2 episodes, call it a streaming service, even though it's really foundational yet. And we know people will jump in. And I mean, I think there's the possibility that it will eventually become something more significant, but it's still a little sad that you can't like I really like the hobby and all this stuff, but you can't really go out and tell your friends like, oh, there's new animated stuff for it. Go watch it. Like you should watch it because like, I mean, I guess
I mean, pretty
$6
soon,
isn't
like in a
much, but-
year, this is probably gonna overtake Peacock in popularity for streaming services.
You laugh, but people hate Peacock.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a streaming. I don't even know who does it, but it's
NBC's.
Oh my god.
Universal, like a Universal NBC.
But like, yeah, I mean, there's like no universe that they would have come out the gate with lots of content.
Well, so I mean, in some regards,
right?
They, for the most part, Games Workshop is a miniature company, and it makes a lot of sense that they try and market the thing with what, for the most part, they're pretty good at, giving you like a model or having kind of some cool models to excite people with. So like, in many regards, while I don't think I was necessarily coming into it expecting that, I probably should have been. And
I guess I ultimately I hope all of this like pushes them to continue to invest in it to build the hobby. Like, because a while back they announced like a live action Eisenhorn thing, maybe being made by the studio like did Man on the High Castle. Like, if they could get like a big, like an actual large budget sort of thing like that, that's available on like Amazon Prime or whatever, like I think that could be huge, like a huge way to expand the reach of this. But having said that, I think this is probably a safer way to kind of get their feet wet with animation stuff in an audience that will kind of eat up everything and think it's great regardless.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly, I mean, not that we've seen this yet, but like Disney is having their like Star Wars Visions thing, which like got maybe like 9 Japanese animation studios to make some short, films, animated films about various stories in the Star Wars universe. And holy hell, does that look so much better than what we've seen.
Well, hopefully sometime in the future they'll be able to do something.
Yeah, and
like
maybe it will. Like, obviously Disney has so much money, they can throw it at whatever.
Yeah.
And so if they want to get Trigger or whatever,
Madhouse.
They didn't use them, but production, IG, I think, Trigger, like all those well-known studios are doing stuff. So, and maybe it could be something like that. Like, I feel Games Workshop IP in the hands of a studio that is actually really like kind of at the top of animation would be pretty neat. But
I wish the animation looked as good as Mobile Suit Gundam did in 1979.
Yeah, we can only wish. Like, and it also makes me think, seeing the old Bale Eye, how there were so many stills and non-animated portions. It made me think of Neon Genesis Evangelion, how they didn't have much of an animation budget and had a lot of stills throughout. They used them really well to kind of build on the themes and such that they were trying to convey. That was not old Bale Eye.
Well, I feel like Evangelion, when there was a scene where there was a lot of movement, like they used their budget to make that look good. And then like a scene perhaps in
of
their
Shinji being
apartment.
depressed, laying in a bed, like that could be a still. That's fine. You can stay there for 15 seconds
Yeah.
to suggest his spiraling depression. But yeah, I don't
That's
know.
not what old Bale Eye was. It was nothing was animated too particularly well. The steals in themselves, I thought, all looked quite good.
Yeah, and that's good though. I mean, it
Yeah,
could be
that's
a lot
pretty
worse.
important.
And I'm still going to be optimistic and say that that was a style choice.
Yeah,
and that
I mean,
they won't all be like that.
It certainly could be.
We'll see. I'm probably wrong, but I'm hoping.
I mean, ultimately, they have to start somewhere for all this.
And where they should have started was hiring animators.
no, but again, in many regards, the animation doesn't that matter that much if the stories they were wanting to tell are actually engaging and interesting.
If they're
That's right. I agree with that.
that will matter a
ultimately,
whole lot more.
I can forgive an awful lot in terms of the animation if the things they're showing and telling us are interesting.
I think
It's
Old
also-
Bale Eye was written by Nick Kime, who's one of like the Black Library authors.
I would say it's also hard to tell a pretty good story in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. It is.
But
I
I'm
mean, I
going
guess-
in optimistic, though.
Yeah, we'll find out, right? Well,
That's right.
if
Well,
you
I
do
won't.
subscribe for the year, what model were you gonna get, Brad?
I mean, part of me says probably end up getting both and maybe flipping one. I
Okay.
think the one I'd be most interested in keeping is actually the assassin,
Not Fat Orc.
not Fat Orc.
If only it was actually to be fat.
Yeah.
Then he would be better.
There's a chance maybe in person once you start seeing other pictures of him, he won't look as fat, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Distended and
I think the one to pick is the assassin.
yeah,
I
well,
feel
But I
more
might-
people would be
Because of
picking
that cool terrain you can use in the games you don't play.
hey now. Hey.
That was not you specifically, it was the generalized you.
Well, I don't play games, so it fits.
yeah, so it still hit close to home.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
yeah.
I wonder, do you think as they release new games and stuff, they will have, like, sort of on Warhammer Plus, they will have things to promote those things? So, for instance, since Kill Team is coming out, you think they would have, like, an episode or two of the Hammer and Bolter that would kind of go along that and support that release? That seems like something they could do.
I think eventually you would think they would, like they did for the new edition of 40K. They made that like couple minute animated trailer or whatever. Like, so things like that could certainly be done to, try to like really push a narrative that they're trying to do in one of their games or something. So like, yeah.
But yeah, I think that could be kind of interesting.
Perhaps we have hit on all the main points.
I think we might have until we actually see the additional 40 minutes of content.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately,
You have
I
to
think we
see.
should probably come back and revisit this in like a month
couple
or
months.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, because and see how the landscape has shifted and if it is more worth it later.
Well, just imagine like the next time they were like if they had this when the new Warhammer Quest was coming out, like they could have had a cool little short animation or story about one of those hero characters. Like that would have been fun. So
Yeah, then you wouldn't be able to buy the game anyway. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. But stuff like that, I think hopefully they do some of that, or like if they release an expansion or like an additional Blackstone Fortress type thing, they could expand on that a little more.
Well, actually, like maybe last thing. So, Brad, you certainly suggested you were going to go in for the year. Like other people, like I feel at least initially, I'm maybe even just going to subscribe for a month just to kind of work out the app, see how it is, and if it seems like do a year or like additional time, that sort of thing. But I don't know if I'm gonna jump straight in to a year because I don't really want the models. But I feel if you do want the models or whatever, like if you're in this hobby, like that amount of money is kind of trivial, probably. That
I'll buy you fat work, Eric, and send them to you.
would you?
You don't need to worry about that. No, I just kind of feel like out of either laziness or that I'll like it. Year, I fell into the trap of only paying month to month for Disney Plus and missing out for their year cheapness. So this time I said, get the year cheapness, which was probably me making another mistake, but that's what I do in life. Yeah. So.
You can't
What
make
about
all
you,
the
Greg?
correct choices.
I'll pay $60, not watch the stuff.
Well, but there's so little content, you probably could watch it all.
Yeah, maybe I will.
That should be your goal.
Yeah. All right. Well. All right. Yeah, I think we covered the ground, and it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. Like, regardless, it's still kind of exciting just to see them branch into something new, and I feel it can probably only get better as they learn more about it and try to improve stuff to keep like an audience around and available. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Any last words before we close this out?
For the Emperor.
That I suspect we'll hear a lot
doesn't.
of that in some of these upcoming episodes. And they won't be kind of ironic and humorous like in old Bale Eye, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, well. All right. With that, thanks for listening, everybody, and we will talk to you again soon. All right, it's recorded.
Yay.
I assume the first thing you're going to watch, Brad, is the first episode of Angels of Death. Like, that's fucking good.
I mean,
did you watch those 5 minutes?
I did not. If I pay for it, I might as well watch it. But I remember when it came out, I didn't even like the style. Let alone...
One thing that I was really impressed with is how the mouths are really in tune with what they're saying.
I'll have to look for that.
You won't have to look. It'll hit you fast. I mean, it's not horrible, but they did it better probably 10 years ago in video games.
Oof.
So, I mean, again, they don't have the budget of like Naughty Dog or like The Last of Us and stuff. So, Space Marines wear helmets. But
yeah,
a lot of it, the animation for their mouths and stuff was not good looking.
That's cool. Well, like, yeah, they should put that Space Marine film on Warhammer Plus.
They should.
If they don't, that's something that people should be clamoring about.
Actually, sorry, people. Ward Sylvania, Unsupervised Darkness, that we haven't really been following the chat here.
Everybody, I think I'm going to go to bed. I need to be up early.
Can you fill us in on your washing machine saga?
Yes. It fills with water. It doesn't. Then it stops. You can get it to rinse and get the water out. So maybe it's something. The motor.
Yeah, I think it's your agitator.
The agitator's not working.
Maybe that's not what it's actually called. But that's
but
what I
that
call it.
sounds that's a good name for it.
Yeah.
That's a good name. For
So
it.
yeah, that's that.
Hmm.
Yeah, Warrensylvania, the assassin might be the best piece of terrain GW ever made.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I feel people could do some interesting things with it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, friends. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Be well. Talk to you later.
Good night,
Yeah,
Greg.
see ya. Yeah, I don't. Fat Orc is really weird looking.
That's why I want to believe.
I mean,
that
it could
other
be. I
angles will
mean,
make him
Games
better.
Workshop is somewhat notorious for choosing an angle that isn't as flattering as you would like it could be when they talk at length about finding the perfect shooting angle. I guess we didn't mention it too much, but I guess at least all of the Hammer and Bolter stuff, Jonathan Hartman did all the music for, so that's cool. Like he's Shibboleth02, I think, on Instagram and such. Makes a lot of cool terrain.
Yeah,
like we met him a couple years back for the one Inc 28 game and all that. So like that's cool that he's still working on that stuff and I think doing a pretty good job of it.
You know, the sound and stuff in that episode they showed, I think was good.
Actually, unrelated to that, the Warhammer community page had something about kind of orcs throughout the years today.
Yeah.
And they had a picture of a new orc boy. Like we could talk about that, see what people think.
Well, I would like to talk about the fact that it seems more
Fucking internet.
like the Chaos Warriors are, the new Chaos Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not cool.
And looking at what the orc looks like, that seems very plausible.
Yeah.
Seems very plausible. I mean, the Snaga boys or whatever the fuck they're called, like the Snaga,
Beast
like
Snagas.
presumably they will be released separately at some
I'm sure
point.
they said they would, but I don't think they said anything like that
Yeah.
for the regular boys.
And admittedly, looking at the newer one, he looks sort of mono posy, like more than the others.
A little bit.
But I mean, ultimately, I like the model. I think
I do. Yeah.
I think it's one of the best. It's certainly better than the Beast Snaga. The pose, I think, is better. His weapons are more in line with Brian Nelson's stylings that aren't quite as ridiculous and over the top, which I like. His face looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I think he's good. And I mean, I guess even if they are trapped in said box, like if they're similar in quality to this, that's still pretty good and could mean like you could get some for like a fun kill team to put together. And like I'm not I'm not playing 40k, like so like it maybe doesn't matter. I mean, it would still
I'm not playing kill team either.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it'd still be disappointing if there isn't like a slightly more multi-part thing, but it wouldn't affect me that much. I don't know, kill team, like I'm soon gonna have a fully painted kill team, Brad. We can we can try. We can play. I can actually
pretty
try to play.
Soon I'm gonna have two kill teams on Sprue. So that's pretty cool.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
No, I want to try to get this stuff put together. I want to try to play some games here soon.
I'm started the batch painting process of the last 3 models and they're pretty far along, so I will have probably a bad Space Marine kill team.
Hot dog.
But it'll be painted, so
that'll be good.
So like your guys, do Do you
I will
just
say
say
they're
they're
Primaris,
Primaris?
even
and
though
like,
to me they
okay.
are normal Space Marines. Because otherwise, I'd have to paint more Space Marines, and that's no can
That
do.
They're gonna
cannot
be
happen.
normal Space Marines in about
Yeah,
5
yeah.
years.
And like I have like a what was sort of converted to be like a plasma cannon, and Space Marines can't get those. So like if
love
they
it.
could, I would have tried to push myself to paint one and like somehow convert the flamethrower or
I
something.
thought the green you used was not a traditional Dark Angels green, but that might just be my ignorance.
Yeah, I don't think it is. It's not. Like the one at least what Games Workshop tends to use now, I think, is like a moot green. It's like a scorpion sort of really lime green, but like people do it sort of differently. So it's not super traditional, but I think a lot of the I'm gonna say better Dark Angels paint jobs at least shy away a little bit from the super lime green highlights. And like I don't know, I think I like it better. Having said that, probably if I would start the whole process again, I like basically just used GW's Caliban green and mixed glacier blue, like a light blue, into it to like highlight it rather than trying to mix in white, which doesn't work that well, to make the highlights like cooler highlights. And I probably should have used like an ice yellow, which is similar but a little like a warmer hue. And I think that would have made the highlights a little bit more like the lime green, but not as like neon and awkward, and could probably, I think it would have been a little bit easier to get additional grades of highlights and stuff. But
I don't know. I think
that's
these
not
two,
what I did.
They certainly look the part of like Dark Angels.
Yeah, I mean, I feel if you see them, like your initial impression is they're probably Dark Angels, but maybe they're another thing. I don't know.
It's just a shame you just were so excited and started painting that, because I was going to suggest we should get Super Serial and like actually do like the Octarius Rift or whatever bullshit, like historical factions kill teams, like actually do it. So I don't know.
In there?
Well, I don't know. It'd just be like Tyranid. I don't know what Hive Fleet the Tyranids are. I don't know. But I thought Adam at one point wanted to do Tyranid Warrior kill team.
Yeah, I have some stuff.
Well, I mean, honestly,
like
depending on what's there
It could
available,
be
like
Dark
I'll
Angels.
soon have a kill team done. That doesn't preclude me from making another or something.
I think I
You
would
don't want
like
to paint more space.
I mean, Brad, I would like.
I
you
would
to-
no. It wouldn't be Space Marines.
Well, Brad, I would like you to paint some Space Marines for my chapter.
My
yes,
chapter,
my
my
chapter.
chapter, my chapter.
The best chapter.
Yeah. It's my chapter.
But yeah, if I would do
man.
another kill team or whatever, it would not be Space Marines.
Yeah. What do you think you'd do then?
I don't know.
The Octarius Rift I know has orcs. It apparently has the Death Corpse of Krieg, and
Well,
somewhere somehow.
because I have.
They're not the
probably
right
not
faction.
They're probably our martyred lady because it's always them. Like, but yeah, I mean, I could look if they're the one I have, like, which I don't even know what they are, Bloody Rose or something. Then hot damn. Then I just need to paint some more, and I have a second.
There's
kill
probably
team.
like I don't know, like there's got to be a Gene Stealer cult
Yeah,
in there
that's
somewhere
true.
for sure.
Supposedly, people think they're pretty good in the new edition.
I thought they always have kind of been good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't win with them.
Well, if we actually get a copy of the game, I mean, I could potentially assemble some of the Orc Commandos or something.
Yeah.
Paint
Well,
man.
I'm going to potentially assemble some of the Orc Commandos.
That's the way.
That'll be pretty boss.
But like a little disappointed. The way the game's set up, this guy
Mm-hmm.
can't be a commando knob. Game's kind of dumb.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel this is the sort of thing though. Like if we're actually going to play it, like since there aren't points or whatever, like who cares?
This is a Ooch Choppa.
Like, because I'll be completely honest, when I play with this kill team I'm painting, the sergeant or whatever has a chainsaw and a bolt pistol, and that is like the shittiest thing he could have.
Well, I'm very WYSIWYG, so.
Oh yeah, I
No.
don't care. Well, it's all you see, Brad. It's a special master crafted chainsaw that's so good. It's basically a power sword.
Yeah, it works.
You'll see.
You did it. You made it work.
Convinced me.
Because stats are just stats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I think the game will be fun. I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be fun. I mean, playing anything with you, Brad, will be fun.
That's true.
Well, it's funny you say that because I got the Lord of the Ring itch again.
Uh-oh.
Nah,
I don't know about that.
it'd still be fun.
No,
in some sense, painting the
like
models
that
could be
game.
somewhat fun because since they're more of a true scale, like they're smaller and
Yeah.
less bullshit to
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, I've been working on one of the whites.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's metal.
That looks
yeah.
like metal, all right.
Don't do that too much anymore.
Yeah,
but,
it's the truth.
Yeah, I wanted to try found in the old White Dwarf magazines an old Last Alliance campaign
Mm-hmm.
system that I thought would be kind of fun to do. And then I
You
was
know,
like,
what's cool about Warhammer Plus? We won't be able to see that White Dwarf
we
magazine.
won't see it. It's way too old.
Yeah.
Way too old. Yeah, and I was even remember the like on the website they used to do the Black Gobo
Yeah.
stuff. You ever get sad sometimes that's like all just gone? It's just gone.
It is a bit sad.
It's all gone. Never
Go
to
on the-
return.
Go on the Wayback Machine and try to like look at stuff, and
Mhm.
like none of the pictures are saved, so it doesn't really work.
The Wayback Machine. Remember Skulls?
Holy cow! Yeah,
I do remember skulls.
you guys actually got the Adeptus Mechanicus thing you could get from that, right? You didn't redeem them, but you.
Yeah, but we have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't redeem them. No, sir, not at that time.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, like Kill Team is being released this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm getting it.
It's
Not
impressive,
this
Brad.
weekend.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Not that
No.
it matters a whole lot, but
And it's funny because I made my big excuse about why to purchase it online, and I could go this Saturday and probably just.
That's
I'm sure. I mean, I guess that's what we would
Well.
maybe do, but
yeah.
then we would have
Yeah.
it. Like,
But I even think they said that in the UK they'll ship it so it arrives on release day, but they don't bother to do that in the United States.
No,
Makes
they've
me
given
sad.
up. Yeah, they've given up on
But
that.
it doesn't matter because I feel like half the people got an advanced copy anyway.
yeah, that is true.
Like, holy cow, did it seem like a lot of people
Yes.
got an advanced copy.
You had to be an influencer, Brad.
Are they really all that influential, half these people? I don't know.
I don't think maybe
Brad,
that
get
many
back
are.
on the influencer train. Resurface, here we go. Your blog.
You're breaking up. Oh no, Adam.
He's giving me the secret. They censored it.
Hmm.
Damn it.
What'd you say?
I said, well, Brad, start becoming an influencer again. Bring back Here We Go.
Oh, he's broken again.
Fucking God.
It's
Damn
doesn't
it.
want you to know
I can't know the secret.
the secret of becoming the next
The next
Warhammer
great
influencer.
I could be a Warhammer hero.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, Brad, become the next Warhammer hero and resurface Here We Go, your blog.
Here we go.
And
Oh,
influence everyone.
Yeah, that's the
everyone
way.
would be influenced.
Well, I kind of feel to be an influencer, at least in terms of what like Games Workshop wants from it. It seems kind of they just want you to be active on like Twitter or various things and essentially just assemble and paint their models as is without
Yeah, I mean, that
any
helps.
fuss.
That would
well,
help.
to be fair, on their latest article of people they gave advanced copies, they showed people who did
Mm-hmm.
2 conversions, or I guess kit bashes. I don't know.
Bean Stealer Cultists and
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a
Valhalla.
little bit. So that's
the
true.
like Ice Warriors.
Tut, Eric. Tut.
Yeah, and I mean, Johan Ergerkon's like the illustrator
Mhm.
goes by Jeff Vader some places, runs the Convertorum. Like he's converted some of the stuff and shows up there. So it's not completely the case. But
Yeah,
in general, they want a lot of it. They want it to be you have a YouTube channel that people watch or so you can just show it and say you like it.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
I
Like,
could say that. I could be a shill. I
yeah,
got no problems.
you could do that. I mean, they don't want to see
I don't have
those,
principles.
they don't want to see those dark angels I painted that like change their heads in backpacks. Like
No,
that's
but they would. Most people wouldn't even notice that they were different.
I mean, that's probably true, but
Like, oh, Primaris, yeah, whatever.
it's probably true.
No, they'd notice that they were bolters, though.
Would
Yeah.
I think.
I think they're too different.
Yeah, I agree, but I
So what
also
is your
wouldn't be
maybe it's
surprised
inappropriate
otherwise.
to talk about, but what is your follower count these days? Where are you at?
Like no one follows the blog or like there's no way to track that.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, I thought you used to on used to have followers.
I mean,
count.
there is, but like no one uses that.
Yeah,
like,
that's
Google
true.
doesn't follow that. Or
That's
it's
true.
it means basically nothing. I mean, I'm sure some people do look at the blog and stuff.
I
but it doesn't
appreciate
do
that you
much.
still have a blog.
Yeah,
I mean, we
no,
still get people commenting now and again.
4 posts a month. I mean, I guess the closest we could get to saying stats like that, Brad, would probably be saying that we have 6,661 Instagram followers.
That's a lot.
You have over 6,000 Instagram followers.
Yes.
That seems like a lot.
That seems impressive.
Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I feel it is a lot. I mean, I guess like maybe in the scheme of like popular Instagram accounts, like maybe it's not, but for our hobby and what we're focusing on, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's happy that there are that many people out there interested in the stuff we're doing. Is nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, Instagram allows you to actually get at least some feedback. Like people do comment on there, unlike the blog. I mean, admittedly, there is a small group of people that do actually comment on the blog pretty frequently, which is kind of astounding because of how much more work it entails, which is obviously why blogging is dead.
Yeah. It really is, which is really kind of a shame. I enjoyed reading people's blogs. I don't really enjoy like the newfangled things like Discord and stuff like that. Guess I'm getting old. I don't know.
But yeah, it is just a lot more work to like go to a blog, to think to go, and then so many of them now, people aren't even updating them because it's so much easier to use things like Instagram. So like it kind of is a vicious cycle that is less and less worthwhile to put stuff there, or at least in a consistent fashion.
That's
But
why you have to have the mindset of doing the blog for you, I guess.
Yeah,
and I
that's
feel
what it's
that's,
for.
I guess, largely what I try to tell myself.
Also,
And when the end of the month comes and they're like, "Fuck, we need 4 posts for the month, and like we have 1. What the fuck are we going
we
to
have
do?"
failed. So we recently, Eric, you posted this post with these 2 largely finished Archangels, and on Instagram you posted some pictures. You got a lot of nice comments about them, which is nice, but there was at least one person who has the question, why females? And because, Eric, you had said that these Space Marines here were female Space Marines because, yeah, why not? And
Yeah, for that 28 magazine challenge, because
and
who cares?
You had said that your comment response to that is, why not? GW initially had them, and the current lore saying there are only males is poorly conceived. And then later on, the person came back and said, it's excellent lore. Sister of Battles are around. They're armored. Why change the game? Okay, so there's a lot to like sort of comment on this. Adding Sisters of Bat or like adding female Space Marines doesn't change the game at all. They're different from Sisters of Battle. And the thing, it's excellent lore. I mean, some of the lore is pretty good, but the shit they've written about why Space Marines are male is laughably bad. Like what they have written makes no sense in terms of biology.
Male tissue types and
Key
or
to the zygote. Like fuck, like it's garbage. Whoever
just
wrote it knew
science,
nothing about
technobabble, and
biology.
hardly even that.
They knew nothing about biology. That is not what I would call excellent lore. It's just not. It's objectively not excellent.
Yeah.
I would say Space Marines are modeled under monastic orders, and that's no girls allowed, right? Like, is like that's what it is, right? Like,
I mean, that's certainly what they've tried to write it towards now.
technobabble is technobabble, but
that's certainly what it is. But like at the point when they like decide to like change it all with Primaris and shit, like they can do whatever the fuck they want, and they will do. Like Games Workshop will do what they want and what they think will sell. So
it was really interesting, kind of on a tangential comment. I bought the Redemptionist book for Necromunda.
Oh boy, man.
And in a section in there, they call out Redemptionists not having mixed gender gangs, typically.
Huh. Okay.
And I thought that was an interesting choice and I assume they did it because they didn't want to have people BMC about why isn't there any female redemptionist models made. I assume that's why they did it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was also kind of interesting where, in a lot of ways, and I don't really want to get into it too much, but I really kind of feel like Games Workshop is a little bit having their cake and eating it too when it comes to I guess inclusivity stuff in some sense. But we don't really need to get into it. It's just kind of
I feel it does seem kind of like they like kind of try to say some flowery language to say they are, but then don't really do that much and do the bare kind of minimum, and
which maybe suggests they might be following the money in some sense.
And I think that I think there has to be a lot there. I mean, they're clearly the company is filled with a lot of passionate people that I suspect kind of believe in a lot of that stuff, but how like the publicly traded company ultimately goes and stuff is they probably don't care about our feelings.
Yeah, because right, like the real reason why there are no female Space Marines is the original ones didn't sell, right? Like
and they didn't. Yeah, and they didn't have the money to. Yeah, so
you know, um,
yeah.
talk about making the same mistakes again, sort of thing. I don't know if you
Mhm.
can really expect them to do that. But
Yeah, they'll
yeah.
follow the money. So, and that is not surprising.
Yeah.
Well, but they're in their defense, soon they'll probably release some more female redemptionists for through Forge World.
Maybe. And maybe. I mean, they kind of. I forget exactly what the Blackstone Fortress kind of redemptionist. I forget what her deal is exactly.
Oh, yeah,
She
she's
kind of
cool.
looks. She kind of looks like one. Maybe she isn't actually. I'm not sure. I
With
don't
the
know.
Eviscerator and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's whatever. You at the end of the day, it's your models, right? You can do whatever you
Mhm.
want.
Yeah.
Most people don't seem to adhere to the they got to wear masks rule. Everybody just
Yeah.
slaps whatever cool head they want on them, so it doesn't really matter.
No, it
but-
does not. It does not matter.
Yeah, I got 3 redemptionists put together.
It's pretty. It's good.
Yeah,
I think Adam
just-
has some redemptionist models.
I get so worn down because I'm so depressed about having to fill gaps on everything, or I feel like I didn't do a complete job.
Mhm.
And I don't think I'm good enough at like filling gaps.
Well, have you tried to use like some of like that Tamiya putty that they make that you just kind of push it in out of a tube and
I don't have that. I use
like the plastic putty and like
Vallejo's gap filler.
okay.
I mean, you could also like some people will get like this Tamiya cement, thin cement. They'll get a bottle of it and put a bunch of like extra pieces of sprue in
parts that
there
they chopped up
and let that kind of dissolve into like a goop. And then you can just take the little applicator brush in here
and brush it on a
brush
little
that
bit.
goop on.
No shit.
And then let
and
that
sand it or cut it down. Like I haven't done it yet, but I feel at some point I need to try it because I think it's a good idea.
That
And
seems like it could only end poorly for me.
well, yeah. So you could try. You could
would
like
have to
really
be-
fuck shit badly.
you would
but-
have to like, but I think it could work well, but it could be
See, because
the
I'm kind of
recipe
at the
for a
point
disaster.
where there's like the liquid,
Mhm.
but like the brush kind of doesn't touch it anymore.
Fill that shit up with sprue and get a new bottle, man.
Yeah.
Ruin some
man.
models, man. You have a whole kill team box coming.
Yeah. There's just so much gaps. I feel like that's where they did these kind of push fit sort of designs.
Mhm.
They really you really ended up with more gaps to fill versus the multi-part stuff that the poses weren't as good, but you didn't have gaps everywhere.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
feel like the goop stuff could be good, but it'll still probably be one of those things. If they're very fine things or between fine details, like it won't be
You
good.
can't use that.
But if it's
yeah.
like for like a big rope seam or some
it would be
shit,
good
like
for that.
but I think it probably matters a lot, like how much sprue and how much of the glue is
Mhm.
still in there to get a consistency that isn't too. Because if it's too liquidy, then it just could spill all over the model. And
Yeah.
It's bad news.
Mm.
Well, I might try and experiment with it in a little while and see how it works. But yeah. Well, so everybody, I think maybe we can call the stream to a close.
I think that's a good idea.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Brad. Thanks for everybody listening and their comments. If you're excited
fuck, it's almost
about
midnight here. If only we could start streaming.
Stay
If
up
you're-
another hour.
yeah, I mean, if
Well,
you're
it won't
excited
be
about
there.
Warhammer Plus, I guess cool. Maybe it'll be fun. But yeah, keep on enjoying the hobby. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We will talk to you again soon. Over and out.
Yep. See you, everybody.
Now we're done.